Yeah, I think we come to this point in our culture right now where young people are told to be meek and passive, and we see it blowing up with people rioting in the streets and they do protests because they really have lost their identity. I believe young people, and I know you have a daughter that's a warrior, but especially young men need to understand
Yes.
how to be violent, how to be warriors, and then control that, being able to be in control of that. And
Yes.
that's
Be a monster and learn how to control it, right? Jordan
yeah,
Peterson said it best,
that's exactly right. And
Thousands.
competing in martial arts for me, and I don't know the same for you, but for me, when this is why I still compete. I did 20 pro MMA fights, and I don't fight MMA anymore, but I still do jiu-jitsu and compete in jiu-jitsu. And I've had a real lucky year. I've won. I say lucky. I've worked hard to win a couple of big tournaments this year. But the reason I still compete, people ask why I still compete in jiu-jitsu. The reason why is when I put a date on the calendar, when I etch that number on that calendar, something flips in my mind that I become a more disciplined and regimented human being, like in every area of my life, like as a father, as a husband. You talk about like faith. I'm a strong person of faith. I'm a really strong Christian. I'm that radical Christian we talked about. Like my spiritual life even like comes in line. Like everything comes in line for me when I have that date on the calendar, because like I have to live a disciplined lifestyle to be successful. And so that's why I still compete. I got plenty of medals and stuff like that. I'm not even collecting those anymore. It's all, and I love winning, but it's about the discipline that comes from it. And I think there's a lot that the world could learn right now, especially this upside down culture right now. A lot the world could learn from martial artists and the way we live our lives as martial artists and as competitors.
No, I 100% agree with you. In fact, I give that advice all the time when people are like, I want to lose weight. I'm all, sign up for one of those Tough Mudders. What? I want to learn to be better at jiu-jitsu. I'm all, sign up for jiu-jitsu tournament. Yeah. I put some skin in the game. I practice what I preach. I practice boxing probably about once a week, kickboxing another day, and then I do wrestling one day and jiu-jitsu twice a day as far as technical training. So it was probably about 6 months ago. I was like, you know what? I want to get better at boxing. You know what I mean? So then I told my manager, hey, give me a boxing fight. And everybody's like, but you're not a boxer. You're more of a submission guy in MMA. But if I know that my ass is crawling into a boxing ring against a good boxer, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to train a lot of boxing. And that's what people saw back on April 17th. I stepped in there with a world champ and looked good. Well, that was because that was an accumulation of me putting that on the calendar, saying, hey, you know what? I want to get better at this, and that's what I did. And speaking to you about the children, it got to the point of actually switched schools for my children. My kids went to a private school. I love the education there, and they had sporting programs there. But for the middle school, all of a sudden they have a teacher-parent meeting, and some of the parents don't like the fact that, all this stuff coming out about concussions and football, and little Johnny can't play football now. But because little Johnny can't play football, it might hurt his feelings that my kids play football. They didn't let me make that decision for my children. So they cut the football team, dropped it. That was when I realized that, you know what, I can't be with you. We're different breeds of human beings, you know what I mean? And so then my wife kind of told me, she goes, hey, why don't you try to, speak up and change this? I'm like, no, I'm not going to. They've set their mindset. And guess what? Their children are going to compete against my children. I don't want to help. You know what I mean? Like, if that's how you're going to do it, that's fine. When it comes to an office presentation, my child is going to eat your child alive. Because the minute somebody makes him feel a little uncomfortable, they're going to go into the closet, call mom, go, man, they hurt my feelings. It's okay. They're not good. I mean, there's such a cuddling in our culture, and it's making us weak. And it just drives me insane. But then there's the dark side of my soul, the predator in me that goes, well, you know what? If your kid's going to be weak, that's just easier because he'll be fodder for my child.
Yeah, when it comes, they're going to be competing. They're not going to be competing in football tournament one day. They could be competing for a job one day, and
exactly,
how to put food in their plates of their families. I mean, what you're talking about boxing? Right now, like we have, I'm competing in pans coming at pan no gis, and that's my world. Like I'm really strong no gi in a tournament. I don't know who's going to be there, but I keep signing up for these super fights. So like I'm doing sub 100 pro, and I'm the matches I'm looking for in those super fights are guys that I think have the ability to beat me.
Exactly.
I just took a match with Bernardo Patel, who's a black belt world champion from Brazil, and I'm like, that guy in a gi is probably better than me, and that's why I took that match, because that drives me.
Yeah,
to want to train hard, and that's gonna motivate me, and I think you take that in life, like do things that are hard.
Yes.
Make your kids do things that are hard. Make your kids do things where they're going to fail, and teach them lesson of failure. Because oftentimes as parents, and I think right now we talk about success, and you tell stories about success to your kids, but tell them stories about when you tried really hard and failed, and
I talk
how
all the
you
time.
got back up again. I mean, and man, you're like you get your daughter Bella in wrestling. No better place to learn about winning and losing than wrestling. When
Yeah.
1,000 kids show up for a tournament, and 50% of them, the first round, they have a single elimination. First round, they go home. By the second round, 75% of them have failed. And you learn how to get back up and go at it again.